Miles.
How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, man?
How
How you
much?
doing today?
I'm doing great. A little hot over here. I don't know how bad it is where you are. It's insane.
I think it's hot everywhere. It's just
Yeah.
everywhere.
Summer.
Where are you right now?
I'm in Spokane, Washington, at home.
So it's a very unusual heat for you guys up there.
Yeah, it was like in the like 107, 110, which for us is very odd. So right now I don't
Yeah.
know what it is, but it's it's pretty wacky.
Yeah, so do you like I hear like a lot of houses up there they don't like have air conditioning and stuff because it's not
Yeah.
something you normally need. I'd like I was talking to somebody from Vancouver yesterday who was telling me that it usually doesn't get like it's the 70s, like mid 70s in the summer.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, here it does, by July or so, it can get in the 90s and whatnot. Because we're kind of close to the desert here in Spokane,
Okay.
but for it to be like this hot this early this is definitely new for us. So
Is it one of those like kind of like touring is just getting back now. Maybe it's kind of good that we're not doing a festival right exactly now.
right.
I remember
Yeah,
as a kid growing up, it seemed like well, not as a kid, but my younger years, going to every Ozfest, it always seemed like it was like the day it was going to be 105 degrees out, no matter when Ozfest hit your town.
right.
So tell us a little bit about what's going on with you because your last solo album, Ides of March, you're still pushing that. You're in, I think, 20, 30, 40 other bands as
Mhm.
usual. It seems that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you're only in a couple, but you're always working. You're one of the hardest working guys, I think, in all of rock and roll. And I'll throw you some accolades as well. You definitely have one of the most powerful rock voices, I mean, I've ever heard. And
Wow.
it's cool too when you hear somebody sing, you're like, that's Miles Kennedy. Like without you don't have to just on the radio, you don't need to see anything. Everybody just knows your voice. So what's the latest and greatest with you right now?
Yeah, just promoting this record. Did I actually had the opportunity to play a couple shows last week. It was the first time I played in since February of 2020. So that was pretty wild. It was we were in I went to Kansas City and then Lincoln, Nebraska, and just acoustic. Just showed up with some acoustic
Mhm.
guitars, and it was amazing. What was amazing was were the fans because they were so. It had been so long for everybody since we'd all kind of been in the same room, and it's I always refer to it as the fellowship of music, and so they were so just energized that it was pretty special. Both shows just left me feeling really good and looking forward to getting back out. Now, unfortunately, I'm not touring now until September. I don't start up again, so I'm going to have to just have a taste of that, and then you can get
Mhm.
by through the rest of the summer.
Well, it seems like that's what most of the bands are doing. I mean, yeah, everything's kind of opening up now, but most of the shows aren't starting until, a few here and there, and then August and kind of gets going. It's like this fall, it's just going to be, wild. Did you have a lot of trouble getting bookings? And I've heard of bands having trouble getting buses because everyone's going out at the same time. Are you running those same kind of, behind the scenes shenanigans, if you will, trying to get yourself back out there?
Yeah, there's all sorts of shenanigans in that respect, like buses that you think you have suddenly you don't have, and so are we riding bikes to these gigs or what are we doing here?
U-Haul, baby.
You all. It's going back to the old days. I did so many tours back in the day. When I back in the '90s, we would just get like a club wagon or whatever you call those things.
Yeah, the Econoline van.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's something endearing about that though. I like buses. Look, they're comfortable. You can sleep, but there is something to be said about cramming into a or not a bus, but a van, and it's like you're forced to talk to one another, and it's cool. It's a totally different dynamic. Now, by the end of the tour, you're completely just beat up because you can't sleep
Yeah.
very well and all that. But yeah, we'll make it work. But yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be great for the fans in the fall. They're gonna have plenty to choose from.
Now, when it comes to the material you get, because being in so many different acts, working with Slash, working with Alter Bridge, and doing your own thing, when it comes to like your writing process with like each band, like how do you determine like do you ever like, oh, this song's really good, Slash, but maybe I put it over here, but I think I want to save that for myself. Like do you ever, or like this is a good song, but it's not just for me, this is like a Alter Bridge song, or like this is, like how do you rearrange like what goes where? Do you have a kind of a process when you're working with each of these different acts that you're doing plus your solo stuff?
Yeah, it's generally speaking, it's pretty easy because they're all pretty different. But this latest solo record, because it's more of a plugged-in affair, and it's blues based. I mean, and there's a lot of guitar, like guitar solos and whatnot. It was definitely, there were moments where I would go, okay, this could possibly work in this other realm. So what do you do to make sure that you define it for the solo world? And so it would just, you take some massaging. But yeah, you come up with those moments occasionally where is this a little too whatever for this particular thing that I'm supposed to be working on. But that's what's really, that's why I think I'm really lucky, is that I'm afforded the luxury of, as I'm creating, it rarely does something come along now at this point where I go, that's not going to work for this anything that I play in. It's generally like, well, I think this will go here and this will go here and this. So you always feel like you're not spinning your wheels. You feel like when you sit down to write, even if it's not for what you are setting out to do next, you can set it in the, as I like to refer to, the song refrigerator, and let it sit there for a while. And that's also really beneficial because time and distance from ideas and songs can help you have a better perspective. Oftentimes, when you're in the thick of it, you're like, oh, this song's great. This is going to be awesome. And then when you step away from it, you're like, ugh, it might not have been so good. And so it helps you have that ability to listen like a listener would listen to a song for the first time, where you're not too attached to it, and you don't lose that advantage.
Now I know technically, the band with Slash, that's still, Slash and Miles Kennedy Conspirators. That's, you're technically still together, even though GNR is out on the road doing their thing. Alter Bridge, though, you guys haven't done anything in a while, really. Is that still a thing, or is that kind of a back burner, or like where you stand with that? And let me just tie it into this as how really I don't think people really grasp how interesting it is to have a major singer for two major bands simultaneously that were going for a while there, and it just doesn't happen, and it just flows, and no, and like, oh yeah, he's in this band, he's in that band, and that's it. If like any other singer tries to pull it off, it just doesn't. It always sounds like like something's got to be a side project, where for you it seems like you were in two main, full-time go for it bands.
Yeah, interestingly enough, and really until the last year, early last year, when everything stopped, it was nonstop between the three entities, between Slash and Conspirators and Alter Bridge, and then the solo thing. I mean, it was just not. It was like a never-ending tour recording cycle, which was good in some respects, but it was starting to kind of take its toll on me. I just needed a little time to power down. But with Alter Bridge, yeah, we definitely have plans to do something again next year with Slash the Conspirators. We've been putting songs together and have lots of stuff in the can. We're excited about that. But I think that when I listen to you, kind of lay that out, it does remind me how insanely lucky I've been with my career, because yeah, I remember 20 years ago, I'd have been grateful just to be in one band that could go out and do it. And so to be in this position now where you have various things you're a part of, it kind of blows my mind, really. I don't know how it worked out the way that it did. I'm grateful, but it's kind of crazy. But there are other singers out there, like look at Corey Taylor. I mean, he's been able to do all these different things, and so there are other guys who are just as who are hardwired the same way, who love to make music, and so that's hopefully that's good for the fans, because it's more music.
In a weird way, was the whole COVID situation kind of a little blessing for you to be able to kind of like, all right, pump the brakes a little, power down, because I mean, like I said, your voice is so powerful. It's got a take a toll. Just do you do the solo one, you do this band, you do that band, you're out touring all the time. It's like, how do you rest yourself? Because I mean, your voice is like pow. You're not like whispering like the kids today. You're belting them out.
Is that what the kids are doing? They're whispering, whisper sing. I
I'm
need
not
to.
whispering. What's all this? I'm like an old man. Like, huh? What are they singing there? Huh?
I can't hear you. Uh, um, yeah, I mean, interestingly, for me, if I'm on tour, I've been doing it for so long, I kind of know how the instrument works. Like the first week, it usually feels really strong. Second week, it's kind of in a sweet spot. By week 3 to week 6 on a tour, it's like, yeah, you're fine as long as you don't get sick, or if you don't just overdo it and you don't talk a lot. I generally don't, because I don't do a lot of interviews on the road because talking is a thing. For whatever reason, my voice just can't do that and sing effectively, I should say. So, yeah. After that, I need about a week to power down. And once that week goes by, then it kind of bounces back to where it was at the beginning of the tour. So it's really not something where I need a lot of time, but I just need like 7 days, maybe 10, and then she's good to go again.
It's kind of cool with that, with the bands that you're in too. It's like, okay, so, a lot of, people like me, it's like, oh, I got to talk to the lead singer of the band, like when you're in town. But then you have like, well, you got Slash. So it's like, okay, Slash can talk. And then you got Mark Tremonti. It's like, okay, Mark Tremonti can talk, so it's like, you kind of have wingmen in these bands that are also like huge names to help you along. I got to throw up a quick story. When I did first, I met you in person a super long time ago at the Starland Ballroom in Sayreville, New Jersey. And I think it was an Alter Bridge show, and it was like one of your first ones, and it blew my mind at the time. I'm like, wait a second, you were in the movie Rockstar, and you're like, yep, that was me. I'm like, son of a bitch, oh my god. I thought that was so cool that you were like, you at the end of the movie, you took over Mark Wahlberg's job. I was meant to ask you, how did you get that role in that film? I mean, it was a quick role, but it was still like, I love that movie. I mean, I've watched it a billion times. And it was funny, like, I'd go to a Black Label Society show with Zach Wilde, and obviously he was in it, but like his road crew guys around, like, talking to his guitar tech. I'm like, I know you from the movie, getting all excited and everything. So how did you ended up in that film?
That was so. Are you familiar with a producer named Brendan O'Brien? He's incredible producer, and he had mixed the first record I ever did for a major label with a band I was in called the Mayfield Four in like I think '98, and he was friends with one of the musical producers for that film, and they were looking for somebody who could sing the song, and then also be the actor for this one character, Mike Thor, God of Thunder, and God
of Thunder,
God of Thunder, which was actually something I think I kind of ad-libbed. We were doing the reading. I don't know if I ever told this story before. We were doing the reading around the table once I'd gotten the part, and if I remember correctly, I was sitting there. I was like, when it says, instead of saying, "Hey, my name's Mike Thor, God of Thunder," like I was like, a lot of singers I know who kind of were in that genre, they would sing it like "God of Thunder," like. And so I just did it. I remember I just was like, what? And when it gets to the scene, I'm gonna just try and see what happens. And I got a few chuckles. Like, all right, I'll do that when we actually shoot it. But yeah, so Brendan O'Brien put in the good word for me with the musical producer. He said, well, there's this guy that I mixed his record a few years ago, and you should give him a call and just see if he's interested. So, and I didn't find that out till a lot later. I didn't find that out, I think, for, maybe a year or so. And then I called Brennan and was like, man, thank you very much. So that was fun.
There you go. Your brief moment of taking the mic from Mark Wahlberg
Right.
and Steel Dragon and doing the songs there. Well, Myles, Ides of March out now, of course, and you can get on your website. Just yell Myles Kennedy into your phone and everything pops up. I've learned instead of like, what's the website? There's a button on your phone. You say someone's name. All the information's there. Isn't it amazing times we live in?
Technology, gotta love it.
And so you're going to be hitting the road. I think, we can. Oh yeah, because we're gonna have a date in Philly. Hold on, I just saw it. I'm gonna say I'm looking it up on my phone right now.
Yeah, there you go.
I just got the info, and it is. Of course, he sent to me an email. Hold on. I know it's the Underground Arts in Philly. I just got to get the date. I've been there. I went to that club once for a Stranger Things dance party. Really strange. They had
Wow.
a whole Stranger Things themed night with a DJ and people dressed like the characters and whatnot. Yeah, September the 29th.
All right.
That's what we're looking forward to your closest date here to us in Atlantic City over there in Philly at the Underground Arts. Super fan. I can't wait to see you live again. I'll throw it out there when it comes to rock voices and this generation right now. It's like you're top notch, man. So I want to
Wow.
thank you for some time this afternoon, and thanks for being one of my favorite movies of all time.
Right. Well, you're just
And
making me feel really good right now.
yeah, like I know too many dumb facts about that movie. I really do because I was doing an '80s rock show on the radio at the time called the Tour Bus promoting it, and with this guy Ralph, and so Blas Elias from Slaughter is in there, so like we'd have him on the show and talk about it, and obviously Zach, and then like I learned later I didn't even know the singer from Third Eye Blind was in the other
Yeah.
cover band.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah, he
it
was.
was like
There were a lot of people in that movie.
it was like a who's who of music. You should do like I always thought there should be like a reunion and make like a festival or something and get everybody together.
That is a good idea. I like where you're going with this. Make it happen.
Do a rock star festival, but like like you do your stuff too. Like you guys could, and then you all get together and do Steel Dragon stuff with
Right.
the guy from Steelheart.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be, that's actually not a bad idea.
You know what's cool? I always thought too. Has a promoter ever hit you up with like Miles only tour where Alter Bridge and Slash's Slash and then Miles Kennedy Conspirators and solo, like it's a Miles fest. You open up doing your solo
Right.
stuff and then co-headlining Alter Bridge and Slash.
No one's ever brought that up. I don't know if that is one thing. I don't know how this would last that long. I mean, generally, like after about 2 hours, the voice is like, "All right, I'm done." But if I had the ability to do that, it would certainly be. That would be fun. That would be fun.
Maybe like a one night only like Miles Kennedy birthday party festival.
Right.
See, I'm coming up with all these crazy ideas. I'm just throwing them all at you.
I like it.
I'll just take 10. I'll just take 10, 20, 30%, whatever our managers take these days.
Perfect.
All right, Miles. Well, I want to thank you. For the time this afternoon. Thanks for talking to us for our WMGM face-to-face. And we'll see you in September, the 29th Underground Arts in Philadelphia. And I'm sure we'll be giving away a few tickets to that show. And I think I'll sneak my way in there too. But love to check out the show.
That would be great.
All right, take care. Have a great day, right? Stay cool.
You too. See ya.
All right.